ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Sri Priti Sandarbha. It's continuation of Anucheda number 1. In yesterday's class we read that Jiva Goswami begins explaining what is Priti, and in the process he said that the purpose of life is to gain happiness and avoid suffering. So we all have this instinct to live, what they call as survival instinct. But the question comes that why do you want to survive? What is the big problem if you do not survive? There are big programs now even to protect some specific type of fish or tortoise right? Or some bird. In India, they are trying to protect cheetahs. So why is it that survival is important? And what is actually the purpose of it? So therefore we say that the purpose of surviving is happiness. So Purush Prayojanam, Sukha Pavapti, and Dukh Nivartakat. So it's not that we just want to live, because if we are not happy, then we don't want to live. There are also people who commit suicide. And that is because obviously they are not happy, because there is no person who is happy and he wants to commit suicide. So that means happiness is very desirable, and if it is not available, then we don't want to live. And of course, it is not possible not to live, means extinguish our existence, but we think that we will have a better future. Means when we lose hope for happiness, then we think we should close this chapter and move to the next one. So this, therefore, purpose is happiness. And there are different types of happiness. Primarily, they can be divided into three. As in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami writes, Sukham, Vaishikam, Brahma, Ishwar Chaiti Tatridha. That Sukham or happiness is of three types. There is a Vaishik Sukh, or happiness which comes from sense objects. Then there is a Brahma Sukh, happiness which comes from knowing Brahman. And then there is happiness which comes from Ishvara or Bhagavan. So it is three types. And the last two types are generally not known to people unless they study Shastra. The first one is what people are known, people know it, and they try to acquire it, this Vaishik Sukh. But first of all, it is temporary, and it is not pure happiness. All happiness in the material world, or Indriya Sukh or Vaishik Sukh, is mixed with suffering. Therefore Sri Krishna says, Yahi sansparsja bhoga dukkha yone evate adyantavanta konte nateshu ramte buddha. That this happiness which comes from the contact of sense with sense object, he says this is verily the source of suffering. Dukkha yoni means it is the cause of suffering. All suffering which we get comes because we have either enjoyed something or we are trying to enjoy something. These are the two causes of suffering. Either you have enjoyed something in the past and that is giving you suffering, or you are trying to, or you are planning to. So this is the dukkha yoni. This will lead to misery without fail. And even if you get some happiness, some vishesuk, then that is adyantavanta. It is having a beginning and an end. It is not permanent. But we don't want temporary happiness. We want permanent happiness. So therefore this cannot be the prayojana. This cannot be the purpose of life. Because purpose of life is unending happiness unmixed with suffering. But out of avidya, ignorance, we are working to get something which is temporary and mixed with suffering. So therefore those who are intelligent, Buddha, nateshu ramte Buddha, the intelligent people, they do not take interest in that. This is what Sri Krishna speaks. So then there is other type of happiness which does not come from the sense objects. So bahya sparsheshu asakta atma, ye vindati atmani sukham. Sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. So bahya sparsheshu asaktatma, one who is not attached to the happiness coming from external sense objects. And vindati atmani yat sukham, and he looks happiness within, atmani, in the self or in Brahman. So sa brahma yoga yuktatma. So when he becomes endowed or enjoined or realized of Brahman, then there comes akshaya sukham. Sa sukham akshayam asnute. So thus such a person experiences unending happiness, undiminishing, imperishable, akshaya. So this is what the intelligent people try for. But this Brahma Sukha is also not very great. Beyond that is the Priti, or the Sukha of happiness. And that is the subject matter of this book. He will explain that. He will bring the comparison of all these three types of happiness and then show that the supreme happiness is from Priti, from love. That is the analysis he is going to do. So Bhagavan has got three types of Shakti. So Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta, Tatasthakya Tathapara, Avidya Karam Sangyanya Shakti Tritiya Yishyate. So he has got three types of Shaktis, potencies. One is Parashakti, Aparashakti, and Avidya Karam Shakti. So which is also called Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Bahiranga Shakti. So Antaranga means which is in his own Swarupa. It's like as human beings we have some Shakti, some power, some potency, some caliber, some talent which belongs to us. So that is his Swarup Shakti, Antaranga Shakti. And this is the supreme, that's why he is supreme regulator, supreme controller. Because this Shakti cannot be overpowered or subdued by any of the other two types of Shaktis. We have to be clear about it, that this Antaranga Shakti, it cannot be overpowered. So not knowing this or not paying attention to this fact, then the idea comes that Priti is inherent inside, dormant. So it cannot become dormant because there is nothing to make it dormant. So Atma, the Jiva, the living being, has its sense of I. That is its basic characteristic. It has consciousness, its potency. Its Swarupa is that it is conscious. There is nothing which can overpower it. It can become deluded, this, that, but consciousness cannot be lost. Consciousness cannot become dormant. Our sense of I cannot become dormant. We may mistake I and apply it to this body, but we can never lose the sense of I. Nobody can say that I. Whatever you speak, you are going to use the word I for yourself. You may say, I don't know who I am, but still you are saying I. Because that is our core nature, core identity. The sense of I. It cannot be taken away by anything. We may not be able to express it, as in case of deep sleep, because there is no faculty to express it, but it is not lost. We may not be able to express our awareness or consciousness, but that does not mean that it gets lost. So if Priti was there inside us, it cannot be lost like that, because that will be even more powerful than our own sense of I, because that is Antaranga Shakti. We are only Tatastha Shakti. So Hladini Samvid, this Sandhani, these are other three names. Hladini is name for the Antaranga, and they belong only to Bhagavan. Hladini, Sandhani, Samvid, Toy Eka, Sarv Samsray. They are only in you. And Hlad Tap Kari Mishra, Tvai No Gun Samsray. But the other one, the Sattva Rajas Tamas, they are not in him. So they cannot, Sattva Rajas Tamas cannot overpower Bhagavan, which means it cannot overpower his internal potency. Because overpowering him means overpowering his internal potency, or vice versa. Because they are non-different. If internal potency, Priti, can be overpowered by Maya, then that means Maya can overpower Srimati Radha or the eternal associates. But that actually is the very cure to get rid of it. Mameviye prapadyante maya mitam. Say, because this is my Maya, it is under his control. So it cannot, therefore it is described that Maya does not come and stand in front of him. That's a way of explaining that it cannot overpower him. Maya pareti abhimuke vilajyamana. So as if feeling shy, she does not come in front of him. So the significance is that cannot overpower him. That's what it means. Stays on the backside. So therefore we have to keep this in mind. Otherwise this doubt comes that Priti here, Priti there. So Priti is only in him and his eternal associates, because this is Antaranga Shakti, and it is not in Bahiranga, it is not in Tatastha. That is also the meaning of these three Shaktis being absolutely distinct. Otherwise they are mixed. That means there is no Tatastha without Antaranga, and there is no Krishna without Antaranga, there are no eternal associates without Antaranga. So what is the difference then? Then what is the point of making the distinction of these three Shaktis? So these three types of happiness will be described here so that we become very clear about it and no doubt remains in this regard. We have to know that this material happiness is really not happiness. So asare khalu samsare sukha bhranti shariranam. So this samsara is asar. Sara means essence or strength. Asara means no essence. Samsara means which is full of essence, right? Or good essence. So, but actually the samsara, it is called only samsara, but it is asara. Asare khalu samsare sukha bhranti sharirinam. And because it's only the name, it's like you have a nice packing. You pack something very nicely and inside it's garbage. You can also pack garbage, right? So it will look very nice. You can put some scent outside. It will smell good. It will shine. But inside it's only garbage. So that's what the samsara is. Like our body, as they say, the beauty is skin deep. Because you remove the skin, there's a lot of garbage. So the samsara is also like that. That it's called samsara, inside is asara. So therefore sukha bhranti sharirinam. So therefore the living beings in the material world have the bhranti, the delusion of happiness. Happiness is not there, but because we are so much looking for it, we think this is happiness. When you are dying of hunger, then you can even eat neem leaves. It will taste good to you. So lala panam iv angushtha bala nam stanya vibhrama. So it's just like a child is sucking on the thumb and he thinks that he is suckling the breast of his mother. You've seen sometimes children putting the thumb in the mouth. So there is nothing coming out from the thumb. Right? But he has the vibhrama, he has the delusion that he is drinking something. He doesn't want to even leave it. Right? Sometimes parents will pull out, then he puts it again. So it's just like this, the people in the material world are after Vashik Sukha, material happiness. There's nothing in it. But this is the Balanam, they're children. Children does not mean only who are like less in age. Children means those who are ignorant. Right? Balanam Sukhbodhaya Kriyate Tark Sangraha. The author of Tark Sangraha, he says, I'm writing this book for the Balas. So when he says, who are Balas? He says, those who have not studied Nyaya, but who have studied Kavya Vyakarana Dhitam. Then they are Balas. Not that they are young. They may be grown-up people. If they have not studied, as far as Nyaya is concerned, they are children. So he says, I'm writing for those children. This Tark Sangraha. So this is how people are. Children. Right? Balanam Anushasnam. Krishna says also. He says, Parokshvado Vedoyam. Balanam Anushasnam. He said the Veda is Parokshvada. It speaks in a hidden, secretive manner, indirect manner. Why? To discipline the children. So, disciplining children is a tough job. But we think that we are grown up. For God, we are also children. And He has a tough job to discipline us. So, karmokshay karmani vidhatte hi agado yatha. So then He gives us medicine and says, eat this laddu and take, inside the laddu is the medicine. So package is good, inside there is bitter medicine. So this will be described here now. Any question before we begin? So another thing to be remembered, and it is very important, that knowledge, desire, and internal effort, they have an object, Vishaya. Knowledge is not without an object. If someone says, I know, then the immediate means know what? You cannot say, I know, and what do you know? Well, that I don't know. I know, but I don't know what I know. So then you don't know. So knowledge always has its object. Knowledge of something. Knowledge is not just knowledge. So this is what another misconception you hear, that Atma is full of knowledge. Right? So then if it is full of knowledge, knowledge of what? What is it full of? Because knowledge is always related with something. I have knowledge of book, I have knowledge of table, I have knowledge of computer, I have knowledge of something. So if we are full of knowledge, then what is the object of that knowledge? And if I am full of knowledge but I don't know, then what is this knowledge? So in the same way, if I have desire, then immediately desire of what? It's not that I have desire but I don't know what I desire. So desire also has its object. Similarly, kriti or prayatna, which we have been studying in Nyaya, that also has, prayatna is related to something. And that now line, same is priti, love. So love also has an object of love. You cannot say that I have love, but whom do you love? And that I don't know. But I am full of love. So full of love of whom? So if I have Priti inside me, then I must know to whom I have Priti. I must know the object of Priti. I cannot be ignorant of that. So this is important to know this and be clear about it. Otherwise, we hear all these types of statements and then we may get confused. That I have this, I have that. So now Sri Jiva Goswami says, we are on page 9. So absolute reality is essentially bliss. Means that is its core nature. Just like the core nature of sugar is sweetness. It may be of any color, size, may be different. You may sometimes have small pieces of sugar. Sometimes you have bigger cube-like things. Or it may be powdered sugar. But one thing which will be common, no matter how it looks, maybe sometimes the color is very white, sometimes the color is brownish. The basic characteristic is sweetness. So that is its essential nature, sweetness. So similarly, the essential nature of the absolute reality, Bhagavan, Paramatma, Brahman, is this bliss, happiness. Therefore it is called Satchidananda Vigraha. So that has to be described. That's why the Vrajvasis, when Sukadeva Goswami described this Leela, Brahman Leela, then he said, Aho Bhagyam, Nanda Gopa Vrajokasham, Yan Mitram, Paramanandam, Purnam Brahma Samanatanam. So he says that these are very fortunate, these Vrajvasis, because their friend is Paramananda, supreme bliss. And he is complete, Purna Brahma, eternal, absolute reality. So that is the basic. And because he is Ananda, then everything which comes from him is Anandadhi khalu etani jivani jayante. Jatani jayante. All this thing which comes from him, which comes from the Ananda and survives on Ananda only. Also when Brahma came and then he was seeing these cowherd boys which he thought he has stolen, then all these cowherd boys turned into Vishnu forms. And there also Sukadeva Goswami described Satya Jnana Anandara Matra Ekaras Murtaya. That these bodies were not material, they were not some kind of magic, but they were Satya, Jnana, Ananda, Ekaras Murtaya. They were the forms or personification of eternality, consciousness and Ananda. So his form is Satchidananda Vigraha, and among these three it is Ananda which is supreme. Eternality is there, is conscious, and he is blissful. So of these three, it is Ananda which is supreme, because everything is for Ananda and everything is because of Ananda only. So he is going to do some analysis here of this Ananda. So etad uktam bhavati yat khalu param tattvam shastra pratipadyattvena purvam nirnitam tadeva sada ananda paramanandatvena siddham. Tadeva sat ananta paramanandatvena siddham. So in this regard, the following is to be discussed. The absolute reality, Param Tattva, which was earlier ascertained as the subject matter to be set forth by the scriptures, was verily conclude it to be eternal, unlimited, and of the nature of supreme bliss, Paramananda. So this we have already studied in Śrīmad-Bhāgavata and Krishna Sandarbha. So, but Ananda is a word, just like happiness is one word, but then happiness or Ananda or bliss is of different varieties and different levels. It's like we say sweetness. So it's not that all sweetnesses are same, there is variety in it. More sweet, less sweet, medium sweet, and also types of sweetnesses. So sugar has one type of sweetness, banana is also sweet, milk is also sweet. Different types, different fruits have different sweetnesses. So similarly, Ananda is also of various gradations. So there is a Mimamsa, there is a deliberation on this in the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. There is one chapter called Anandavalli, or the creeper of bliss, where Ananda is discussed. So he is referring to that. So it says, Shrutavapi Sheshanandasya Mimamsa Bhavati iti arabhya Manushananda Nandatah Prajapatya Ananda Paryantam Dashkritva Satgunitataya Kramena Tesham Ananda Utkarsham Parimanam Pradarshya Punascha Tatopi Satgunatvena Parabrahmananda Pradarshya Aparitoshat Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasasaha इत्यादि श्लोकेन तद आनंदस्य अनन्यत्वम् एव स्थापितम् विलक्षणत्वम् च. So he is referring to this part of Taittiriya Upanishad. So in the Shruti as well, beginning with the statement, this then is an evaluation of that bliss. 10 different amplitudes of bliss have been progressively shown from that of a human being up to that of Prajapati. So there it is described that there are 10 levels of happiness which are described, and each level is 100 times superior to the previous one. So you go on increasing like that. And that the last one is the Brahmananda, where it is said that it is ineffable. Yato vacho, the speech cannot express it. Although first he said that it is 10 times, 100 times the previous one, which is the bliss of Prajapati. But then he says that actually it cannot be fathomed. It is immeasurable. There are no numbers which can be applied to it because it is unlimited. Everything about the Absolute, about the Supreme is unlimited. So you cannot put it into some figures. So that's what he is referring to. So he says from that of human being up to that of Prajapati, each one 100 times greater in excellence than the previous one. Thereafter the bliss of Parabrahman is stated to be 100 times greater even than that of Prajapati. Not content even with this comparison, the Shruti next establishes the limitlessness of Parabrahman's bliss as well as its categorical distinction from material happiness in the following statement. The bliss of Brahman, so Brahmana Anandam, is that from which words recoil along with the mind without ever having reached it, being powerless to describe or conceive of it. So first of all, there is no comparison, and the reason for that is one is material, other is spiritual. So really speaking, from spiritual point of view, this material happiness is not happiness. That's why I said it's just in delusion. So it's nil, it's zero. So how can you compare? Just like the comparison is not possible between the bliss of bhakti and Brahmananda. Brahmananda bhavet chesa. So parardhikrita guna, if you multiply it by parardha, which is the lifespan of Brahma, half of it, then it cannot be even seen as one drop from the ocean of Bhakti Ananda. Bhakti Sukham Bodhe. Na Parmanu Tulam Api. So happiness of bhakti is like an ocean, and the happiness of Brahmananda is like not even one atom of that. Why is that? Because these are two separate types. From the bhakti point of view, Brahmananda is not an happiness. It's like even from the point of view of Brahmananda, this material happiness is not an happiness. So that is the comparison. So you can read this whole text from Taittiriya Upanishad. It is cited here. If you go to page number 12 in the commentary. So read from the top. Sri Jiva Goswami refers to Taittiriya Upanishad to establish that the absolute reality is of nature of bliss. There are primarily two ways to experience happiness. The first is derived from the contact of the senses with their favorable sense objects. This type of happiness is ephemeral and ultimately a source of misery, as confirmed by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. So, O son of Kunti, all enjoyments born of sense contacts are only sources of misery, having a beginning and an end. Therefore, the wise do not indulge in them. The second type of happiness ensues directly from the absolute reality, as stated by Krishna. One whose mind is detached from the external sense objects attains that bliss which is intrinsic to the self. Such a person whose self is united with God through devotional absorption tastes imperishable bliss. These are two categories of bliss compared in Taittiriya Upanishad. It first enumerates the 10 different amplitudes of material bliss. The complete passage is as follows. This then is an evaluation of that bliss. Suppose there is a young man who is noble, learned, most expeditious, most strongly built, and most powerful. Imagine that this entire earth filled with wealth belonged to him. The bliss that he would experience. What is this? If this human bliss is imagine that this entire earth filled with wealth belonged to him. The bliss that he would experience is 1 unit of human bliss. So that he is saying that somebody who is young, human being, means he has good digestive fire. Because if you cannot digest food, there is no fun in life. So, and he is strongly built, and he owns the whole earth planet, means he can have whatever he wants to have, he or she, whatever. Means everything is available on this planet earth, whatever facility is available to him. The happiness which he can experience is 1 unit. So that means there is nobody on this earth planet who has 1 unit of happiness materially, because now he is going to go 100 times of this. So this is the basic. This is the starting point, 1 unit of happiness. So then you can understand that material happiness is just a name, because nobody has it. Nobody is like this person. He is wise, he is learned, he is not crazy. He has everything, but he is on earth planet. He is a human being. So that means the maximum happiness which he can experience is 1 unit. Which is to say that there is nobody who is experiencing it. So now he says that if this human bliss is multiplied by 100, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the human Gandharvas. So the Gandharva is the next level. You hear about the Gandharvas, they sing, they are good. Singing gives happiness, they have good voice, they know music very well. So Narada was Gandharva before he was cursed by Brahma. His name was Ubbarhana Gandharva. Very good singer. So this is also the bliss experienced by a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. This is a statement which will come after every one of them. So now he says, if this bliss of the human Gandharvas is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the Deva Gandharvas, as well as that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of Deva Gandharva is multiplied by 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the Pitris, whose world is everlasting, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of the Pitris, whose world is everlasting, is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the Ajanas Devas, and also that of a knower of the Vedas who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of the Ajanas Devas is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the Karma Devas who attain their Deva status by Vedic rites, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of the Karma Devas is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of the Devas, and also that of a knower of the Vedas who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of the Devas is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of Indra, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of Indra is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of Brihaspati, who is the Guru of the Devas, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. If this bliss of Brihaspati is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of Prajapati, that is Brahma, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. And if this bliss of Prajapati is multiplied 100 times, it would equal 1 unit of bliss of Brahman, and also that of a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires. So this is what he writes, and then later on after he says that actually Jiva Goswami says that not being satisfied with this, ultimately he says that yato vacho nivartante aprapya mansasaha. That actually the bliss of Brahman is not 100 times, 1 unit of bliss of Brahman is not 100 times of Prajapati, but it is unfathomable, it cannot be described, it is immeasurable. So from this you can now decide whether you want to make an effort for material happiness. Because with the same effort you can get the bliss of Brahman. So this is 10 to the power 18 of that one young man. And then ultimately unlimited. So we have a choice. Why this analysis is being done here in Taittiriya Upanishad and why he's citing is that you actually have a choice. It's not that the Brahmananda is not available and beyond that Bhaktiananda is not available. It says it's available to us, but we have to decide. Either we can keep on trying, means we can keep on sucking our thumb and thinking we are drinking milk, or we can actually experience bliss. So that is the distinction between wise man and a fool. It's very simple. Because who would like to try for that 1 unit, which is also not possible? Even the 1 unit is not possible. So then, page 10 says, Ko hi eva anyat ka pranyat yad esha akasha anando ne syat. So there are many statements in the Upanishads and of course in the Puranas, Bhagavad Puranas, so many prayers, where Bhagavan, Ishvara, Paramatma is described as bliss or Ananda personified. So Ananda Brahmano Vidwan. So Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So everywhere the word Ananda is used for him. And it is that Ananda which we can experience. Because later on in Taittiriya Upanishad it is said, Raso Vaisa Rasam Hi Eva Labdva Anandi Bhavati. That he is actually rasa, and only after attaining or experiencing him one becomes blissful. So of all the words or names which are used for him, the word rasa is used. Raso Vaisa. And everybody in our life, all of us, we are actually looking for some rasa, right? Some taste in our life. But this taste cannot be acquired here in the material world, because it is only He is the rasa. So we are actually looking for him only, because we are looking for rasa, and he is the rasa. But we are looking in a wrong way, or we are ignorant where to find him. Therefore we don't get, and we end up suffering. So Sri Jiva Goswami is revealing where to find him, where he is actually. So he says, and by the following statement, Parabrahman's essential nature is shown to be bliss alone, Kevalananda, even though it has various characteristics that are intrinsic to its essential being. So iti anena nana swarup dharmavatopi tasya kevala ananda rupatvam eva cha darshitam tatha bhuta martandadi mandalasya kevala jyotishtvavat. So in this respect it is comparable to the sun globe, Martanda Mandala, which in spite of having various qualities is said to be light alone, Kevala Jyoti. If this bliss, that all blissful Parabrahman were not present in space or in the sky of the heart, who indeed would be able to live and breathe? Kohi eva anyat ka pranyat. So because Paramatma is present in the heart, they will live that. So this is what has to be Atma Vare, Drashtavya, Shrotavya, Mantavya, Nididhyasitavya. This is to be seen, this is to be experienced. And Atmana Kama eva sarvam priyam bhavati. Yajnavalkya says that everything is relishable because of the presence of Atma in it. Once the Atma is gone, nothing is pleasurable. This body looks beautiful because of the presence of Atma in it. If Atma is taken out, then it's dreadful. You don't want to be with it anymore. You want to dispose it off as quickly as possible. But we get deluded and then we get enamored by the body and forget that actually the importance of body is only because of the embodied, the shariri. Without that, the sharir, the body has no value, absolutely no value. You cannot sell it for 10 paisa. Right? Unless, of course, now they can sell kidney. So this is the analysis. And then he says that although he has got many other qualities, but it is the Ananda which is the supreme quality. Just like he says the sun Sun has got different qualities, but its major quality is that it gives light. It also has weight, it also has shape, right? It also has some gases in it, or gravitational force, many other things. But when we think of sun, we think of light, right? Wherever there is sun, there is light. And where there is no sun, there is darkness. So in the same way, although Bhagavan has got various qualities, his main quality is Ananda, which he will explain that this Ananda is nothing but Priti, Prema. This is the supreme characteristic. And that's why his Madhurya feature is supreme above the Aishwarya feature. So any questions on this? Yes.
I have a few questions about certain concepts here. The first is human Gandharva. What human Gandharva means?
There are different varieties of Gandharvas. They are called Manas Gandharva, Dev Gandharva.
And those human Gandharvas live on earth?
Previously, not now.
And this Ajanaja Deva?
It's another variety of Deva.
Something special about them, or?
They are in charge of the material elements. They are the presiding deities of the material elements.
Oh, great, thank you, Babaji. And here, when it is saying the knower of the Vedas, here is referred to the person who know the Vedas, and as well as those who know the conclusion of the Vedas.
Otherwise, what is the meaning of knowing Veda?
Well, because there are people who know the four Vedas and they remember in Chaturvedi and all of that, and there are other people who study, for example, Bhagavata.
Yeah, but read what he's saying, and he's not interested in anything material. He has no material desires. So means he knows the conclusion, Vedaisya sarvairahameva vedya. So Vasudeva para Veda. That is the knower of the Veda.
So in that sense, we can say that it can be equated to a Vaishnava who is already...
Yeah.
Okay. And here, Bhaktiananda, Paramananda, and Premananda, these three are synonymous, or there are gradations? It is not established in the verse itself.
So don't ask about it now.
Okay.
Stop here.
Okay.
Anything else? Janaki?
Haribol Babaji, I had a question on Taittiriya Upanishad verse 2.71, where it's stated as Rasavai Rasam. And my question is, it's generally translated, especially by scholars like Patrick Olivelle, who knows Sanskrit very, very well, and he translates the verse as it is the essence, or it is rasa. My question is, how can someone so expert in Sanskrit be translating sa as it instead of he? He is the essence. It seems very clear to me that it's saying he is the essence, but he's translating it as it is the essence.
Yeah,
and I don't understand why.
Well, they don't want to talk about God, basically, that's fine.
But from a Sanskrit perspective, from a grammatical perspective, how could you translate saha as it and not he?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sa is he. So he must have some reasoning why he's doing that. Otherwise it's tat. Otherwise it should have said tatvai rasam. But it's very clear, savai rasaha. It's masculine gender.
Babaji, the statement about a knower of the Veda who is not overcome by material desires, why does it come up each time?
This is a style of Vedas, especially Upanishads. They make it very repetitive. When you chant it, sounds poetic. And also to remind you that we should be like that, not have material desires. Because what is the point in having material desires when you're talking about all this bliss? So it's also to tell you that when you become free from material desires, you will have the highest bliss. Because he is coming after every statement. So it means don't run after material desires. Anything else? Yeah.
In the chat, Mohiniji is asking, you said that the concept, the Atma is full of knowledge, in quotes, is a misconception. You also said that the soul is looking for happiness, but at the wrong place. Isn't the search for happiness mean indirectly that the Atma has knowledge?
Knowledge of what? This is the question I just said. Knowledge means it has a vishya. Knowledge of what?
That the Atma is looking for happiness.
So what is knowledge? Just don't deviate from the question. He said, does it mean that Atma have knowledge? And my question is, knowledge of what?
But why didn't the Atma...
Just answer my question. Don't go here and there. Now I'm asking you a question. You ask me a question and I'm putting it back to you. You said Atma has knowledge. So what knowledge? Knowledge about what?
Knowledge that I want to search happiness.
So is that knowledge? Or that is a need?
Okay, so...
You know what knowledge means? Do you know what is knowledge? Can you define what is knowledge?
Krishna defines in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 12, verse 8 to 12, he's defining knowledge. So that is knowledge.
So that means you don't know what is knowledge.
No.
Knowledge is that by which you know something. Gyayate anena, don't tell Bhagavad Gita. That is not knowledge what he's describing there. Those are means of knowledge. Although he's calling them knowledge. Means this is the way you can get knowledge. So don't answer like this when somebody asks you what is knowledge. That Krishna defines this is knowledge. Knowledge is that by which you know.
Okay.
If you know what is apple, means you have knowledge of apple, then you can recognize that, oh, this is apple. You are not going to say, oh, knowledge is that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 8, verses 8 to 12, chapter 12 or 13. That's not knowledge. When we ask for definition, or what is it, we should be able to tell clearly this is what it is.
Okay.
So now tell me what knowledge Atma has.
Okay, so I guess I confused this need for happiness with knowledge.
Very good. So now you know that you are confused. So now get rid of it and have proper understanding.
So the need of happiness is not equal to knowledge, and the need for happiness is just the way the things are.
That is need. You yourself are using the word. You yourself are saying there's a need for happiness. How can the need be knowledge?
Okay, I'm not yet so clear. I cannot yet distinguish between these two.
Okay, think about it. Okay, Vraj Kishori. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. When it refers to the knower of the Veda who is not affected by the material desires, We know from Tatra Sandarbha that the part of the Vedas that is available to us here is very minute in comparison to what's available in Prithvi Loka and other lokas. So the knower who realizes the Vedas here, whatever is available, potentially it is the same and qualifies him to experience all of this happiness, or is the gradation of understanding the Veda different depending on its volume?
See, I already said that, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedya. So knowledge of Veda is not here that you can do some Agnihotra, or you can do some Somyaga. Means you understand what is the purpose of the Veda. Because then only you will become free from material desire. Otherwise Veda is full of Tragunya Vishya Veda. It's full of activities which are related with the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Knowing that, you are not going to become free. So means he knows what is the purpose, the ultimate purpose, what is the essence, and that's why he is not disturbed by the material desires. He's situated in proper knowledge, proper understanding. So he is not looking for any of these happiness. That's the idea. When he says this is 100 times, he says one who knows Veda, he is not disturbed by it. That's what it means. Means disturbance means not having desire for it. Because desire is the disturbance. No desire, no disturbance. Clear? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.